So the Chancellor has been forced into a bailout for the self-employed. In Britain there's around 5 million people that are self-employed, so they're not salaried workers, they fill in a tax return, or their accountant does. And previous to today's announcement, they were excluded from the bailout that we saw to salaried employees last week. They will now get a somewhat equivalent bailout in that, subject to a few conditions, they will receive up to £2,500 a month cap, or 80% of their average earnings from the past 3 years. However, there are millions of self-employed that will be excluded from this bailout because only around 2 million self-employed will actually qualify, because a large proportion of self-employed people also have income as an employee. Because in Britain, the tax system allows people to be both employed and self-employed to earn extra money, as it should do. So there are many people that have income from an employer, so they're classed as employed. They do the majority of work with this employer, but they also are a sole trader or freelancer part-time in a self-employed capacity to earn extra income, even if that income is only a small amount, a few extra £1,000 a year, basically. There are many people that do that, and it is perfectly legal. And so many people that are self-employed in Britain are under a structure like that. So under Sunak's deal, you have to have earned the majority of your income in a self-employed capacity, which will exclude hundreds, if not millions of people from this bailout, because those other people will be earning money from an employer. And you have to have submitted a tax return for 2019. So if you've only in the last year become self-employed and you haven't filed a tax return, then you're excluded from this bailout, at least in this capacity. If you earned over 50 grand a year in a self-employed capacity, you are also excluded. And there are approximately 1.7 million people in Britain that earn less than half their income in a self-employed capacity. So they will be excluded from this. Also, any help under this scheme will only be available from June onwards. They will have to potentially wait 2.5 months or 2 months. They will have to potentially wait just over 2 months for help. Now, that's quite a long time. What people have to understand is that in Britain, self-employed people are not, the majority of self-employed people are not millionaire, celebrities and high-flying IT consultants or barristers or whatever. A large proportion of them are hairdressers, Uber drivers, delivery drivers, cleaners, taxi drivers and so forth, that earn very, very small, below minimum wage income. And so in many regards, even though they might pay slightly less tax than an employed person, they have very low incomes, a lot of them. The actual median income is probably a lot smaller. Millions of those people that need the help, that are on these low incomes, they will not be able to wait until June for help. They need an urgent cash grant to get them through to June. It's Sunak's bailout of this. Sunak is being naive and harsh by thinking that many of these, bogus self-employed people, or taxi drivers and cleaners and hairdressers will have money stashed away that will allow them to pay all the bills for the next 2 or 3 months. They won't. They need urgent help, urgent cash grants, just like the employed people could not last a few more months, that are living hand to mouth, that need to pay the bills. They're not going to be able to wait until June for a payment without going into massive credit card debt or lending off family, which is what they will inevitably happen if they don't get a cash grant before then. So it is not an equivalent bailout, essentially, because there are more conditions attached to it. And although it may be true that it covers 95% of self-employed people that earn more than half their income in a self-employed capacity, the fact they have to wait till June is definitely not good enough. That has to be immediately addressed. If you like my videos and want to see more, please click the subscribe button down below and please like and comment. Thank you.